everyone, welcome to 5 More Minutes, the show where two friends relive their childhoods, or in some cases, learn about everything they missed out on. My name's Kendra.
And my name's Scott.
Yeah, and Scott's going hard over there.
I'm in my tactical gear.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Cougar Gold cheese.
Right. Yep.
Okay. I went to WSU. It's like a WSU thing. There's a Cougar Gold is just one kind, but that's just how you refer to it. But the WSU Creamery, they make cheese, they make ice cream. I don't think you can buy the ice cream anywhere like you can the cheese. I think you have to get the ice cream at the place. So some places here, have Cougar Gold. And I was at Yolks, and you could buy like a quarter of a cheese wheel. And I really wanted it, so I bought it. But 1/4 of the cheese wheel, guess how much I spent?
$15.
$19. Do you want to know how much a full cheese wheel costs if you buy it from WSU? Or take a guess?
$12.
$25.
Oh, okay.
But
still,
they're selling a whole cheese wheel for $80 because they're selling it in quarters.
Dude, they're making some mad profit.
Yeah, but it's so good. The one I got is called Natural Viking.
Natural Viking,
and it's kind of like a soft cheese with a really strong flavor. And I was just eating some of it with some sweet potato crackers in between because I needed a snacky snack. And
a snacky snack.
And then I was like, I knew when I bought it that was almost as much as they cost, but I wasn't sure like what the actual price was. So I looked it up.
Shouldn't have looked it up, man.
Yeah, you can order online too.
At normal price?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not bad then.
Yeah.
Probably do that.
Yeah, I didn't know you could order it online from them until just now. I wasn't sure. But
all right.
But it's good cheese. If you want to buy some, go to cougarcheese.wsu.edu.
Oh yeah. It is pretty good. I had it while we were around in college, so.
Yeah, and there's a lot of restaurants even here that have like Cougar Gold mac and cheese and stuff.
Yeah.
So delightful. I really want to make some mac and cheese in my Ninja Foodie, so I might order some for that. Ooh. But they're sold out of the regular Cougar Gold until 2021. Although you could probably make it with, I bet it would be freaking fire with this Natural Viking cheese.
Freaking fire.
Yeah, so Natural Viking is a gourmet, creamy white, semi-soft cheese similar to a Monterey Jack. This delicately flavored, soothing sensation melts in your mouth, and its characteristic tiny cracks and high moisture make it the perfect cheese for any dish. Do you think your mom wants some cheese?
Sure. We'll have some cheese.
I want to buy cheese for someone.
And if you buy it for her, I'll eat it while I'm home.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah. Make a list, a note. Order cheese.
Order cheese. Step 1, order cheese.
Yeah.
Step 2, world domination.
Oh, yeah. Also, I'm so excited for Christmas. I need to finish Christmas shopping. I know I wasn't going to make presents anymore, but part of me kind of wants to make presents because I've spent a lot of money lately. Mm-hmm. But I'm also running out of time for making presents. So
yeah, going to have some crafting to do.
Yeah.
Boy.
But everyone does get at least one purchase gift from me.
Gonna be fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy stuff.
Yeah. Yeehaw.
All right. My topic for the fans today that know, probably already know. But we're going to talk about the Metal Gear franchise.
Mm-hmm. I think one time, Corey was playing one of these at Cody's house.
Yes, and me and him actually played with her and beat it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's my only knowledge of it that I have.
Yeah, so I'm going to need you to strap in for this one. This is like Kingdom Hearts level of convoluted.
Okay.
And we'll kind of see that as we go. And we're going in order that the games came out, so a lot of the really complicated stuff doesn't come till later. But just to fill you in, normally when I make notes for an episode, there's like 3 pages. The notes I have for this are 6 pages long.
Oh, usually I have like, today's were short, but usually I have like 3 to 6 pages, I feel like.
And I don't even know if we'll get all the way through my notes today.
Oh, snap.
But, yeah. Because we got some things to go over. And I do have some slides for you when you want to go find those. So we go be talking about the Metal Gear franchise. And it is a series of stealth games created by the man, the myth, the legend, Hideo Kojima.
Like I'm gonna need to remember that. Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima, and he is the guy on the first slide. So he's the gentleman in the distinguished looking glasses. Chilling with Norman Reedus.
That's his name.
Yeah. Chilling with other people in his games. It's a good time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So wanted to give you a little bit of background on him. So Kojima is a Japanese video game designer, director, producer, and writer.
Oh my.
Yeah. He was born on August 24th, 1963. I learned a new word in my research on him.
Okay.
He is what is considered an auteur of video games, which is spelled Auteur, which basically means that like an author or a novel of a play, but it's applied to video games.
Well, in my English 101 class, I'm teaching that we need to redefine what it means to be an author.
Because of all the different media?
Okay.
Okay. So that's what he does. He's known very much for his cinematic games. So he puts a lot of work into the plot and the writing. Kojima was hired by Konami in 1986, which is who he wrote the Metal Gear game franchise for. He has also written and produced many cinematic graphic adventure video games. And then in 2005, he founded Kojima Productions, which was a software house controlled by Konami, and he was appointed vice president of Konami Digital Entertainment in 2011.
Snap.
So he's making waves at Konami.
We love to see it.
Yeah. But in 2015, Kojima split from Konami and became an independent studio on his own. And the first game that he released independently was Death Stranding, which came out in 2019. And that's also who Norman Reedus, he was the main character in that game.
All right.
Yep. Lots of interesting stuff. So we jump into the original. The game was just called Metal Gear, and it came out in 1987. It launched for the MSX2 home computer system, and it was also commonly played on the Commodore 64, which was a similar home computer system. So it was kind of a weird thing. The systems were popular in Japan and several other countries, and eventually 9 million MSX units were sold worldwide, and 7 million of those were in Japan alone.
Wait, MSX?
MSX2
That's
is the home computer system.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what year was this? I forgot that.
87.
Okay, just in case. You can never be too careful.
Case. That's right, you can't. A little background on it. Metal Gear is considered an overhead military action adventure video game. It is widely considered the video game to popularize the stealth game genre. So there wouldn't be no Tom Clancy's nonsense without good old Metal Gear.
How dare you say that?
I know. But it was the first of its kind. The player controls a special forces operative known as Solid Snake, who is assigned with finding the titular super weapon Metal Gear, which is a bipedal walking tank with the capability to launch nuclear missiles.
Okay.
So there's a lot to unpack in that sense.
Yes.
So things to remember: Metal Gear is a big weapon, and Solid Snake is our main boy. So Snake is a member of the special forces group known as Foxhound, and his mission takes place in the fortified state of Outer Heaven, is what it is called.
Okay.
Yeah, so the complex, the base, the military base is just called Outer Heaven. His goal is to save a number of captured fellow agents that have been captured by the enemy, as well as work towards the destruction of Metal Gear, because obviously a giant super weapon that can launch nuclear missiles is a bad thing for people to have. Fun fact, the events in the game is set in 1995. So it's technically slightly ahead of its time when the game released of 1987.
All right.
Boy, I feel like I just had something to say about this. It'll come back. Okay. So Snake's objective throughout the game is to infiltrate this base, Outer Heaven, while avoiding visual contact and direct confrontation with the guards that are patrolling. So this game was unique because apparently, due to the constraints of the MX2 system, you could only have a certain amount of like active bullets and weapons on a screen at one time. So that was what gave Kojima the idea to make it stealth based, because then technically you shouldn't be shooting that much. You should be trying to avoid conflict. So while avoiding the contact, if you are seen, the game enters what is known as alert mode. And in this situation, you have to escape from sight and then hide to be able to resume. Okay. And the second slide in there is actually the original cover art for Metal Gear, as well as just a snippet of what it looks like during the gameplay. So it's definitely old style.
Is this the Snake guy?
Yes, that is Snake. The boy. The man, the myth, the legend, other. So if Snake is seen and there is only one visual exclamation point pop up on the screen above the guard, then only the enemies in the immediate area know that you are there. And if that happens, Snake can escape by leaving that area and going somewhere else. But if he is seen and there are two exclamation points that pop up, that means you've triggered an alarm and reinforcements will arrive. So the enemies will come off on screen and they'll just start trying to get you. And the only way to get out of this is to eliminate all enemies, leave by going outside of the complex, which kind of reduces all of the progress that you've made, finding an elevator, or entering a boss battle. So that slide that shows the gameplay, that like big old helicopter is like a boss. So you run into quite a few of those throughout. Or plane.
Oh, that's a helicopter? Oh, a plane.
Yeah. So yeah, and I actually went through, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago now, but I played this game, the original Metal Gear specifically, and beat it. It came on one of the remakes for PS3 for like the trilogy. So I wanted to play it and beat it, and I did, and it is kind of tough. But it's a good game. So you start the game unarmed, which means stealth is your only option to begin with. Along the way, you will find weapons and items to help you out. The problem with that is weapons have limited ammo, and they can only be resupplied at specific locations on the map. So you have to be sparing with what you have. And along the way, you will also find a silencer, which you need because at any point, if you shoot an unsuppressed weapon, it will alert the guards. So if you just pull out a pistol and shoot it for some reason, now they know you're there. So it is kind of realistic in that sense. Stealth takedown of the enemies will also yield you supplies. So if you can sneak up behind them and like take them out with your hands instead of a weapon, you can get ammo and health that way. The enemy base consists of separate buildings and up to 3 different floors. So it's a pretty big complex. And it follows the player needing to find key cards and other ways to open the doors, and obviously beat bosses to continue.
That's a lot of stuff.
It is a lot of stuff. That's just the gameplay portion. So long story short, it's obviously stealth. You try to avoid conflict as much as you can. There are puzzles that you need to solve to continue, and then you will run into bosses to beat. And hopefully at the end, you're able to get to Metal Gear and destroy it. All right. So now we can actually get into the plot a little bit, because all that's just gameplay. And for a game that came out in 1987, it actually has a surprising amount of plot included. So bear with us here.
I just added up what my square footage is, and it's 1,292 and a half.
Okay, nice.
I also live in the A type of house. So I'm at the beginning of the
A-type.
alphabet. Yeah.
Whoa.
There's
So
one for
cool.
almost every letter of the alphabet, but it kind of skips N through it skips like NOP and just has a bunch of prefab houses, but then there's A through M and Q through C.
No.
Oh no, there's no W.
No.
Or X. But anyways, there's a lot of styles. Anyways, I got distracted doing that. I think I was paying attention. I also sent you a picture of the blueprint.
Oh, was that the Facebook message?
Yeah. But anyways, I just so it's like almost 1,300 square feet. So it's pretty big.
Yeah, that's pretty big. So altogether, yeah, 2,600 for the whole house. Okay. So we were at the plot. Okay. Something important to know about the Metal Gear franchise is this takes place in kind of an alternate reality where the Cold War never ended. So it is kind of actively continuing and influencing all of the wars and decisions that are made politically. So near the end of the 20th century, the West discovers that a weapon of mass destruction is being constructed inside of Outer Heaven, a fortified state founded by a legendary mercenary 200 kilometers north of Galsburg, South Africa. The Special Forces Unit Foxhound sends top agent Gray Fox to infiltrate the fortress, assess the situation, and neutralize the threat. Unfortunately, Foxhound loses contact with Gray Fox a few days later, with his last transmission being Metal Gear, ... So an ominous last message. To discover what happened to Gray Fox, Foxhound Commander Big Boss sends his newest recruit, Solid Snake, into the area of operation in an operation codenamed Intrude M313.
What?
For some reason.
Intrude
Yep.
M313?
Yeah.
That's weird, man.
Yeah. But, not too important in the grand scheme of things. And upon insertion into Outer Heaven, Snake makes contact with local resistance members Schneider, Diane, and Jennifer. You don't have to remember these names.
Good.
Using all of his skills and the equipment that he procures on site, he manages to rescue Gray Fox. Fox explains that Metal Gear is the code name of a nuclear-equipped bipedal walking tank, which can engage in all forms of combat and launch nuclear weapons from any location. Outer Heaven plans to use Metal Gear to impose itself as the new world superpower. So this is the ace up their sleeve. They want to take over the world, essentially, with this new weapon. All right, to destroy Metal Gear and topple the Outer Heaven mercenaries, Snake rescues Metal Gear engineer Dr. Petrovich and his daughter Ellen. The scientist explains Metal Gear can be destroyed, and Snake continues taking on the troops in Outer Heaven to progress. So there's a little bit of hope that this weapon can be destroyed based on what the engineer has told him. So now you're kind of motivated to actually get through the base and make things happen.
All right.
And I mean, this is a game from 1987 on a home computer system. So I'm kind of glossing through the plot because there's only so much you can glean from this. But anyway, Snake begins to notice that traps put in his way are way too precise and wonder how information on his activities are being tracked so easily by the enemy. Big Boss begins to act strangely, giving misleading advice that leads Snake into several traps and eventually orders him to abort the mission And it's funny because in this game, they break the fourth wall and Big Boss tells you as the player to turn off the video game system. So it's a little meta there. And then Schneider, your other buddy, is ambushed by hostiles and is presumed dead after losing contact with Snake. So Snake's in a bad place. He's running into traps. Things are dangerous.
Should have made coffee before this. Jeez.
You gotta need some caffeine.
Yeah.
So Snake is able to penetrate Outer Heaven's main base.
Oh my.
Yeah. And takes out Metal Gear before it reaches completion. As he safely escapes the compound's basement, he is confronted by the mercenary leader of Outer Heaven, who turns out to be Big Boss. Oh,
That's just the name, Big Boss?
That is his name. That's what they call him. They don't really tell you what his name is.
All right.
I mean, I know what his name is because we've been through the game, but we'll get there. All right. So Big Boss is a traitor. He sent Snake in here, under false pretenses. And he is actually the one that is trying to take over the world. So him, as the corrupt leader, reveals that he had been using his connections to steal military intelligence, establish his own mercenary force, and fund his activities along the way. So he wanted to have his cake and eat it too.
Who doesn't?
Right. It was his aim to have Outer Heaven become the world's greatest superpower, able to bring even the West to its knees. He had the rookie Snake sent in, hoping to have him captured and feed misinformation to authorities, but had quite obviously underestimated Snake's abilities. He's just a boss. So the third slide in there is actually the final boss. It is Metal Gear. It's kind of hard to tell on a screen like that what is really going on, but it is a giant mechanized robot that can walk around and shoot crap at you. And this was actually kind of a tough fight because you only have so much C4 that you're supposed to use, and you have to bounce from each of his feet and put down a C4 and blow it up. And he only takes damage if you do it in a specific sequence. So it has to be like left, right, left, right, things like that. So it's kind of a frustrating fight if you don't know what's going on. But I did beat it. It took a while. Okay. So now that Big Boss has lost Metal Gear and a lot of his force due to Snake, he decides to start the self-destruct sequence for the compound and promises that he won't die alone. Snake is going to die with him.
There's a lot going on here, man.
Yeah. Basically, what you need to know, Big Boss, originally good guy, sent Snake into the base. Big Boss turns out to be bad guy, and now he wants to kill Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Snake is able to defeat Big Boss in a final battle and escape Outer Heaven just as it crumbles behind him. And then after the end credits, a message from Big Boss is displayed saying that he will meet Solid Snake again. So that is a very quick synopsis of the first game that started the franchise, and a couple of characters that stick around for most of them. And I thought it was worth mentioning this game had a lot of unique mechanics. Like, for example, you could equip your cigarette and then infrared laser traps would be revealed to you, but it would slowly drain your health. So kind of interesting little things like that.
God, I'm disappointed that you didn't buy candy cigarettes for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is as close as I can get.
Mm-hmm. Is that just paper or like what is that?
Maybe. I'll never tell.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So now you know what happened in the first game. How about that?
How about that?
How about that? So that brings us to the main sequel, which was called Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. And that came out in 1990. What's up?
It was just named after the guy.
Mm-hmm. Solid Snake. And you can see, the next slide is the cover art and then how things look in that game.
Oh.
So fun stuff.
Did we skip this slide or was I supposed to click on it and forgot?
Which one? Oh, number 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Metal Gear.
Oh.
That's like the final boss fight.
I see.
Of the first one. Yeah, so now we're into Metal Gear 2.
Tactical espionage.
Tactical espionage action. That's kind of a recurring theme with his games, is what he was really trying to hammer in. So the game played pretty similar to the first one, obviously. It was on the same type of system, so not too much had changed.
Mm-hmm.
It did expand on its original mechanics. You could now kneel and crawl, which prevented you from making noise in certain terrains. So that's another option you had. And you also gained a radar so that you could see enemies a little bit in advance and plan a little more tactically your approach. And the events of this game are set in the year 1999. So it is 4 years after the events of the original one. Okay, a little bit about the story for this one. Currently in this world, a major oil crisis is occurring in the late 90s. Petrol deposits are running low, and they're running out faster than previous estimates. So there are big efforts to adopt alternate energy or drill for more oil to make up for the outages. To counter the problem, Czech scientist Dr. Keo Marv bioengineers a new species of algae deemed oilix, which is OILIX. You won't have to remember that either.
OIOLX?
It's like oil with IX at the end.
Oh.
Yeah. But the oilix could produce petroleum-grade hydrocarbons with little expense or effort. So it was very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
He unveils the algae to the World Energy Conference and was on his way to a demonstration in the United States when he was kidnapped by soldiers from Zanzibar land.
Zanzibar land?
Zanzibar land.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is a Central Asian country established in 1997 after a successful independence war against the Russians, I guess.
Everything, it all comes back to the Russians.
Dude, yeah. Call of Duty, Metal Gear, Cold War. It's all about the Cold War.
It really is.
Yeah. And look at that. We even got NATO in here too. NATO discovers that Zanzibar land's leaders plan to hold the world hostage by controlling the supply of oil through the oilix algae and nuclear warheads pillaged from old stockpiles. So now they also have nukes, which is not good. Foxhound's new commander, Roy Campbell, brings Solid Snake out of retirement and sends him to Zanzibar land to rescue Dr. Marv on Christmas Eve of 1999. And we got dogs barking again.
I don't know what her deal is.
Is it her? It's not the neighbor?
No, it's her.
Oh, it's her. All right. Well, shit. Is it good?
She's not barking right now.
Okay. So we got our boy Snake is back in the action. He's going to Zanzibar land to save the good doctor who's created oilix. And over the course of his mission, Snake teams up with CIA operatives posing as journalists, Gustava Hefner, an STB agent, and the doctor's bodyguard. He is also reunited with Dr. Petrovich from the first game, the Metal Gear inventor from Outer Heaven, who claims to have been once again kidnapped and forced to work on another Metal Gear project. So this Metal Gear is called Metal Gear D. And he's working on it for Zanzibar land. So I don't know what this doctor's deal is, but he cannot stop getting kidnapped.
Wow, so, he must be like a popular guy.
Yeah, he's been kidnapped twice to make 2 super weapons. So you see a pattern emerging here.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor's also supposed to oversee mass production of smaller, non-nuclear equipped Metal Gear units. So like little baby walking tanks. So that's fun too.
Baby walking tanks?
Yeah, they're just like way smaller in scale than an actual Metal Gear, and they don't have the nukes. They just have normal weapons. They're trying to make it to where they don't really have to use soldiers to fight.
I see.
Yes. So Snake learns from Dr. Madner that Big Boss, Snake's former superior, survived the events of the first game, and he is now the leader of Zanzibar Land. Dang it. This guy won't go away.
That sounds like a weird theme park.
Zanzibar Land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of rides they would have at Zanzibar Land, but they probably wouldn't be very good.
I think they would have a ride where a little bipedal tank walks you around.
I think safety would be kind of like, not the main priority of Zanzibar Land theme park.
You have to sign a waiver before you come.
Yeah. You might get shot. You might get blown up. You just never know.
For sure.
All right. So now Snake's got his new friends that he's made in Zanzibar Land, and they head towards the main prison. Unfortunately, one of his buddies is killed. Gustava Hefner is killed by a missile fired at Metal Gear D. And Dr. Madner is recaptured by the enemy. So they're really good at capturing doctors. Doctors really need to learn some self-defense skills here. The new Metal Gear's pilot is revealed to be Gray Fox, also from the first game.
Snap.
Yep. Determined to finish his mission, Snake fights against Zanzibar Land's elite mercenary force and managed to reach Dr. Marv's cell. Unfortunately, Snake arrives too late and he finds the doctor's corpse and the Oilix data. His informant later tips him off that he actually died under another doctor's torture, which is fun and rosy. So he's been tortured. Snake learns that the doctor volunteered his services to Zanzibar Land to finish work on Metal Gear as revenge against the scientific community shunning him after the events of the first game. So he was actually kind of a bad guy now. They're like, you went and created bad things for the enemy, and we don't like you anymore. And he's like, well, I'm going to go do it again then.
Wow.
So chew on that. Snake incapacitates the doctor when he is attacked. So easy, put him down. Snake then faces off again against Gray Fox in Metal Gear D and eventually destroys the mech. Both men later fight hand to hand in a minefield, and Snake finishes him off.
Oh.
Yep. As he tries to escape, Snake meets Big Boss. Having lost his equipment and no weapons at his disposal, Snake is forced to improvise, so he has to MacGyver some stuff up, using only the items he can find, which are a lighter and an aerosol can. Snake is able to fashion a makeshift flamethrower and defeats Big Boss for the second time. Snake and Holly, his informant, escape together, and they deliver the Oilix formula to Campbell, and everybody's happy.
All right.
So what do you think of that?
That's a lot going on, man.
It's a lot going on. Basically, Snake is becoming the guy for infiltrate missions and getting stuff done. So he's kind of becoming a boss.
A boss.
He's a boss ass bitch. And now we can move on to the main event here, which is Metal Gear Solid, which is the third game and direct sequel. It came out in 1998 for the PlayStation 1.
Snap.
Yep. So that is slide 5 is the original cover art for Metal Gear Solid.
All right.
And you can see they have the label Tactical Espionage Action on it. So they're really going with that. So some differences with this game. This game featured full cinematic cutscenes and a full voice acting cast. David Hayter voiced Solid Snake, and he had so many iconic voice lines like Metal Gear or Psycho Mantis or Gray Fox. You know, good
Okay.
stuff. Yeah. A little information about the game before we jump into plot. I'll give you a little plot break here. Metal Gear Solid sold more than 7 million copies worldwide and shipped 12 million demos. It scored an average of 94 out of 100 on the website Metacritic. So very well.
That's pretty good.
Yes. It is regarded as one of the greatest and most important video games of all time and helped popularize the stealth genre and in-engine cinematic cutscenes. After this, it was followed by an expanded version for PlayStation and Windows, Metal Gear Solid 99, and a GameCube remake, Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes in 2004. So it was just a remake that they put on the GameCube. It has produced numerous sequels that we probably won't have time to cover in this one, but that's okay. Starting with Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty in 2001, and media adaptations including a radio drama, comics, and novels.
All right.
Yeah. So the main protagonist in Metal Gear Solid continues to be Solid Snake, who is at this point a legendary infiltrator and saboteur. During the mission, Snake receives support and advice via codec radio. The same commander that was over him in Metal Gear 2, Roy Campbell, is back and helps him out. And he supports Snake with information and tactics while he is on his missions. Snake is joined by Naomi Hunter, who gives medical advice, Natasha Romanenko, who provides item and weapon tips, Master Miller, a former drill instructor, and Mei Ling, who invented the Soliton radar system used in the mission. So when I say joined by, they all contact him through it was basically a FaceTime radio.
Okay.
So they're not actually with him on his missions, but
they're ahead of time, man.
They are, yeah. So this was kind of the first game that showed the faces when you got contacted by radio. In the original Metal Gear, obviously it just said ring, ring, pick up the phone, and then it would give you the text. But
ring,
in this
ring,
one,
ring, 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 banana phone.
There it is. I was waiting for it. So in this one, when you get called by radio, it shows Snake and then whoever he's talking to going back and forth the dialogue. So it was kind of interesting. Also, like you said, ahead of its time, kind of. The main antagonist of the game is Liquid Snake.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it like that on purpose?
It is. He is the leader of a now terrorist splinter cell of the original Foxhound that were originally under Big Boss. So they split off after Big Boss is gone, and now Liquid Snake is their leader. It turns out that Liquid Snake
what
is a
exactly
genetic...
is a splinter cell? Because that's also like a Tom Clancy.
Well, a splinter cell is you have the original group, Like the original group in this case was Foxhound, but they had a whole bunch of double agents in it because of Big Boss. So after Big Boss was gone, a group broke off, as in a splinter off of that original group, and is now their own group.
Okay.
You dig?
I think so.
Yeah. And it turns out that Liquid Snake is a genetic counterpart to Solid Snake. So they share some similarities. Okay. An elite special forces unit. Wow, I don't know if I said that right at all.
I'm confused about the words that just came out of your mouth.
An elite special forces unit, Foxhound, contains experts specializing in different tasks. So Foxhound is still a thing. The good people that remained. Members of this. Oh no, these are the bad people. The special forces unit is bad people, including these guys. So these names you're gonna love as we go on here. Okay. So it includes characters such as Revolver Ocelot, A
Ocelot.
a Western style gunslinger and expert interrogator whose weapon of choice is, go figure, a Colt single action revolver.
Okay.
The next character, Sniper Wolf, is a very good sniper. So her main weapon is obviously a sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Vulcan Raven, a hulking Alaskan shaman armed with an M61 Vulcan that is off an F-16 fighter jet.
There was just a lot of words that you said.
Oh, yeah. All the words. One of my personal favorites, Psycho Mantis, a psychic profiler and psychokinesis expert. And last but not least, Decoy Octopus, who is a master of disguise.
All right.
So all these people make the little merry band of assholes that Snake has to go fight and defeat.
Wow.
Yeah. So some other cool things about this game. When you get to, so each of those people I mentioned are a boss in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to Psycho Mantis, the boss fight is widely regarded as one of the weirdest and craziest boss fights in video games. So when you start fighting, Psycho Mantis claims to be able to read your mind, and you can't hit him. Like, no matter what you do, you can't touch him at all. And during the fight, Psycho Mantis will turn off your screen. So he will make it look like the video game has been shut down. So your screen will just go black.
Okay.
He will change the channel. So like if you were on a certain channel playing video games back then, he would change it and then it would just be all like blue screen. He had the capability to read other saved game data on your memory card. So he was like, oh, I see you've been playing a lot of Crash Bandicoot. It would be a shame if I deleted that file. At this point, you're like, what is happening? How are you? What kind of game is this?
That's weird.
Yeah. And he could manually control the vibrate function on your controller. So this whole fight, things are so wacky and you just can't understand what's going on. Like there were so many people that thought their game had glitched out that like turned off the system and then, lost their progress because of this weird stuff. And the only way around this was to remove your PlayStation controller from port number 1 and plug it into port number 2. So you did that physically outside of the game on your system. You plug your controller into slot number 2, and then you are able to easily defeat him because he can no longer read your mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So that at this point was like unheard of to do something that wild for a video game. So it was almost like outside of the video game, you also had to be thinking. And when we played with Corey and Cody back in the day, there's also a point in the game where you get to that it says you need to make contact with a radio frequency that you find on the disc case. And they make you think that it's a case in the game because you find like a CD and you're like, oh, it's on this case, on this item in the game. But you look at it and there's nothing. And so it is literally on the physical copy of the PlayStation game case. There is a radio frequency on the back of the case that you have to dial to continue the game. So when we first got to that, I was like, what is this? Like I've never run into a game that you actually have to do stuff, in the real world to be able to move on. So it was a really weird
There's a lot going
system.
on in there, man.
Yes, there was a whole lot going on in there. So needless to say, it left crazy impressions on people and did things that obviously are not normal. So if you jump to slide 6, you can see some of the graphics that were in the original Metal Gear Solid game.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our boy, Solid Snake, in all of his 3D glory finally. And you're able to wander around, take people down stealthily, hide, do all the cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all of that leads to the plot of this new Metal Gear. So, and I believe this takes place in 2005 in the game, if you're still following that.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
I knew this one was going to be a little bit of a stretch for Kendra.
Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of information, man.
Yeah, it is. So the game takes place in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
The Renegade genetically enhanced Special Forces Unit Foxhound takes control of a compound known as Shadow Moses, which is just the new base in this game, basically. And they, again, have acquired nuclear weapons. So that's kind of a ongoing theme in these games. Foxhound threatens to use the nuclear capable weapon, which in this game is Metal Gear Rex. So they're always a Metal Gear, and they just have a code name after them, which is secretly being tested at this facility. And if they do not receive the remains of Big Boss, so Big Boss's body, and $1 billion, $1 billion within 24 hours, they are going to launch nukes on the US.
Mm-hmm.
So they drive a hard bargain.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So Solid Snake is forced out of retirement by Colonel Captain Roy Campbell to infiltrate the island and neutralize the threat. So at this point, he had already been retired. He had already been a boss, and he did all the cool things. And he's like, you know what? I'm good. But now he's back. They can't keep him out. So you, as Solid Snake, are able to enter the facility in an air vent and locate the first hostage, which is a DARPA chief, Donald Anderson. You don't need to remember too much about him, but he reveals that the Metal Gear Rex can be deactivated with a secret detonation code. But he then dies of a heart attack in his cell. Okay, I'm getting weird emails. What the heck? Okay. Roy Campbell's niece, Meryl Silverberg, is also being held hostage in a cell there. So Snake's other goal is to rescue the hostage. Mm-hmm. And she helps Snake escape after he finds her. Snake locates another hostage, arms tech Kenneth Baker. But at this point, Snake is confronted by Revolver Ocelot. And their gunfight is interrupted by a mysterious cyborg ninja who cuts off Ocelot's right hand. And so then Snake is then able to be briefed on the Metal Gear project after, Ocelot's out of his way, and advises him to contact Meryl, who gave him a card that might prevent the launch. But then he also dies of a sudden heart attack. So what the heck's going on here? All the people Snake's talking to are just dying of heart attacks.
Drugs.
I mean, God dang it. Drugs indeed. So I put slide 7 in there, but I don't think we really need to get into that one too much since we're kind of stopping right at the beginning. We'll use that in future. But there's a lot of Metal Gear games, as you can see. But slide 8 is Revolver Ocelot as he appears in the game. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Why does his head look so weird?
It was just a limitation of the graphics at the time. That was pretty much the best they could do for what they were doing on this game, which was good for them. Let us see. So now that Snake is able to contact Meryl again, Snake is put into contact with the Metal Gear designer, who is Dr. Hal Emmerich, who goes by the code name Otacon in the game. And then along the way, Snake is warned of an ambush that is going to be happening with a tank. But he is able to fight off the ambush, who is Vulcan Raven, the large turret guy, who tries to get to him but can't. And then Snake is able to locate Otacon. And this is when the ninja comes back, the freaking weird cyborg ninja, who I did put slide 13. We're going to jump on slides a little bit, but
All right.
cyborg ninja is slide 13.
Whoa.
Yeah. And Snake realizes that it is his former ally, Gray Fox. So Gray Fox is back again, who was originally believed to be dead. So devastated over Rex's true intentions, which is the Metal Gear, the doctor who designed it agrees to aid Snake remotely by using special camouflage and helping him to get information and supplies. So basically, Otacon, this doctor who designed the new Metal Gear, he did not know what it was going to be used for. And now that he knows it's going to be used for bad things, he's not a fan.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So Snake meets Meryl, who is slide 11. She is the red-haired lady, and she is helping him on this mission. He meets up with her, but as they head for the underground base, Meryl is possessed by the psychic Psycho Mantis and pulls her gun on Snake. Snake is able to disarm her and defeat Psycho Mantis with that weird ass boss fight that I already talked to you about. And Psycho Mantis is slide 9. So he's pretty cool looking dude, huh?
Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Except some weird BDSM stuff going on.
Yeah, he does. He's got a weird outfit. He's got like a gas mask on for no apparent reason. He's flashing his bare ass shoulders for some reason as well.
Because why wouldn't you if you have nice shoulders? I mean, not that those are necessarily nice, but
yeah, they look pretty nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then after they reach the underground passageway, then Sniper Wolf jumps in, who is slide 10. Nothing too crazy about her. She's just a really good sniper. She wounds Meryl, the redhead, and captures Snake. Snake is brought to the enemy, Liquid Snake. There's a lot of snakes. So Liquid Snake confirms that they are indeed twin brothers, Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. So there you go. And then after being tortured, Snake is confused because he finds Anderson's body, who had seemingly been dead for days. And he eventually is able to escape his cell with the help of Otacon, the doctor. And he makes his way to the communications tower, fights off a helicopter. As he gets out into the snow, he is confronted by the sniper again and is able to defeat her and kill her. Okay. So now she is gone too. Okay. We're in the home stretch now. We're getting there. Snake continues to Metal Gear's hangar, and he is ambushed again by Raven. Turns out the giant Raven Vulcan guy did not die. Snake is able to defeat him, and he tells Snake that Anderson, the original guy that died of the heart attack in the cell, was in fact Foxhound disguise artist Decoy Octopus. Oh, okay. No. So basically, the first guy he ran into was not actually that guy.
There's so many animal names.
Yeah, I guess there are. Okay, so now Snake moves on, going to Metal Gear's hangar. He overhears Liquid Snake and Ocelot preparing the launch sequence, and they activate Metal Gear Rex. Liquid Snake reveals that he has been impersonating Snake's advisor, Master Miller, and that Foxhound has used Snake to facilitate Rex's launch. So it turns out people were again using Snake for his abilities, and it turned out that he had been helping the enemy because all of the actions that he had taken up to this point actually turned on the weapon. So no bueno. So Liquid and Snake are the product of the Les Enfants Terribles project, which was a 1970s government program to clone Big Boss.
Okay.
So they effectively are partial clones of Big Boss. He reveals to Snake that the government's true reason for sending him, Snake has been poisoned with a weaponized system in his body, so like a biologic weapon, which is known as Fox Die virus, and it causes cardiac arrest in Foxhound members on contact, allowing the government to retrieve Rex undamaged. So they sent Snake into this complex with this advanced biologic weapon in his body.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time he was coming upon like these doctors and people that were going to help him, they died of a heart attack. So because they were exposed to him, they died.
Okay.
So a little rough for Snake. He's not having a really good go of it here. So then you have to fight against Liquid in the Metal Gear. Gray Fox comes and appears. He destroys Metal Gear's radome, so like the radar on it, and is killed. So he was actually being a good guy in this game.
Okay.
It just didn't seem like it because Snake was being, made to do evil things unknowingly. And I guess slide 14 you can take a look at, but that is Liquid Snake in all of his polygonal glory. And they are noted to be very similar in appearance, Solid and Liquid, but Liquid is more tan and he has light hair instead.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
So Snake is able to destroy Metal Gear Rex and defeat Liquid, and then he escapes with either Meryl or Otacon, because the choices you make depends on who you take with you. In the one that I played through and beat, we actually ended up with the doctor instead of the girl, which is interesting. But that is slide 12, is the doctor that has been helping you along the way. So Otacon, Dr. Hal Emmerich. That's fun. So you are able to escape with either him or Meryl. And you are chased by Liquid, who is following you in a Jeep. After vehicles crash, Liquid pulls a gun on Snake, but then Liquid dies from the Fox Die virus before he can kill Snake. Colonel Campbell calls off a nuclear strike to destroy evidence of operation, and he has Snake registered as killed in action to stop the U.S. government from searching for him. So he's trying to look out for him. He's like, you've been used for some bad stuff. We're just going to say that you're dead so they don't bother you anymore. Naomi Hunter, who injected Snake with Fox Die, tells him that he has an indeterminate amount of time before it will kill him as well. So the virus is slowly going to be killing Snake. Ocelot calls the U.S. president. Turns out Ocelot was a double agent the whole time, and his goal was to steal the disc off of Metal Gear that includes its specifications. So that is how Metal Gear Solid comes to a conclusion.
Great.
I'm sure you probably have more questions than answers at this point. And that actually wasn't even like the most convoluted parts of future Metal Gear games. So there is a lot going on here, I guess, long story short.
Yeah, you should have told me to make coffee. Or we should have recorded your episode first.
Yeah, maybe that was what we should have done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep that in mind for future episodes.
Yeah.
But some fun facts as Metal Gear games progress. I'm not going to go through any more plot today.
That's good.
As they progress, they become slowly more and more like supernatural, like adding powers and like genetic mutations, weird things like that. So it's actually known as like, I forget what they call it. It was like a fiction fantasy realism. I don't know. It's a weird combination of terms, but it starts out kind of realistic with you in the first 2 games infiltrating things, but as you can see, once we got to Metal Gear Solid, there are weird cyborgs running around. There are weird genetically enhanced soldiers that you're fighting against. So things are just getting weird. Oh, and obviously Psycho Mantis is some kind of psychic dude. So he actually had powers and could like levitate and do weird shit.
I think that things started weird and they didn't get weird.
Yeah, I guess so. But there was less supernatural stuff in the first one, I guess is what I'm saying. And it kind of progresses from there.
All right.
Yeah. So, and then it has other things. The Metal Gear series is widely regarded as one of the most interesting video game series of all time. And there's just like weird things of detail and weird interactions that are always added to the game. Probably thanks to, Hideo Kojima. But there's always like weird things you can find and do in it. Like, for example, I haven't beat Metal Gear 3 before, but I have played it. And there's like a menu screen where you see your character. And if you use the camera to spin him around really fast, he will throw up. And like, so it's like a bunch of weird attentions to detail that kind of make it interesting. And there's a lot of things for you to do and find in them. So definitely unique games. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, when Kojima left Konami, they had kind of a rough falling out. And that was around the time that Metal Gear 5 came out. So that was the last Metal Gear that Kojima has worked on. Luckily, they were able to finish most of it before his exit. But they tried to make another Metal Gear game called Metal Gear Survive after he left. And it is like the worst Metal Gear game ever. So without him, they can't do it. So fun facts. So I dumped a whole lot of information on you on this one. And I even like gleaned some of these paragraphs. I didn't even read them all. But are you ready for your quiz?
Sure.
Most of these, I think you'll get it.
I don't have confidence.
You got it. When did the original Metal Gear come out?
1987.
There you go. I knew you'd have that one. What system was the original game on?
The MSX2.
Correct. And also like the Commodore 64.
Commodore, yeah.
Yeah. Who created the Metal Gear franchise?
The Kojima guy.
Yes.
Kojima,
you were right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hideo Kojima. Who is the main character of the early Metal Gear games?
Solid Snake.
Very good. Who betrays Snake in the original Metal Gear?
In the original one?
Yep.
It's not the liquid guy?
No.
Is it Gray Fox?
No.
And it's not Foxhound.
Foxhound is the unit they're a part of.
Right. In the first one. Is it the Doctor?
No.
I don't remember.
It was Big Boss.
Oh.
Big Boss was the betrayer because he was the leader of Foxhound. And then it turned out he was the bad guy.
Wait, it was who? Big Boss?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't think that was right, so I didn't say it. But that was the only other name I could remember.
I was gonna say you almost went through like all the other names.
Yeah, so now I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how this is to listen to because I feel like I babbled a whole lot, but there's a lot more Metal Gear games to go through.
Yeehaw, man.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's doing the research for this made me want to play some of them again. So it'd be a good time. There's a lot I haven't beaten. I've really only beaten the original Metal Gear. I did not beat Metal Gear 2. And then I beat Metal Gear Solid. And then I've played 2 and 3, but never beat them. And then there's still like 3 or 4 other ones I haven't even played.
I haven't played any of them.
Yeah. We'll add it to the list.
Sure.
Get some tactical espionage action in. You know what I'm
The
saying?
list is already really long, but let's add something else to it for sure.
Well, that's the great thing about the list. It never ends. You know?
All right.
Yeah. So I guess that's all I got for Metal Gear for now. It only becomes more convoluted from here.
Yeah, and we're all looking forward to that.
Oh yeah. All righty. Well, you got things to plug?
Yeah, I guess last time we didn't plug anything. I can't. My brain is so done. I can't think of anything to plug.
Plug your dice shop.
Yeah, you can. All my sets are 30% off. You can go to www.brokenbowdiceshop.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you have anything to plug?
Not really. Just appreciation for those who made it to this point of the episode and their brains didn't explode like Kendra's might.
Yeah. My and I was grading before this too, so my brain's done.
As soon as I was like 2 paragraphs into the plot of the first game, I could just see the look on your face.
Listen, it was just a lot of information, okay?
It was. Next time we do Metal Gear, I'll warn you in advance, be like, hey, you're gonna need to be caffeinated up, and we're gonna do this thing.
Maybe a little earlier in the day, not 4 p.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah, that might help too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right then. I think that's it. You can like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, download our episodes, leave us a review and a rating. Share us with your friends and family, why do I keep messing up? Share us with your friends and family, your friends who are more like family than your family, and your family who are more like friends and family. I still said it wrong, but whatever.
Yeah, I think it's not your day.
Yeah, it's not. You can send us an email to FIVE, more minutes pod@gmail.com with tips and tricks, marketing advice, topic suggestions, movie suggestions, comments, questions. Pretend that we're Cha-Cha and ask us something.
Tell me your favorite Metal Gear character.
Yeah, Scott wants to chat with you. He loves talking to people and responding and socializing.
Yes.
You can also follow us on our social medias at 5MMPOD on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, where we usually post, but we haven't been. And you can tweet about the show using hashtag 5MMPOD. You can actually use that on any app.
Yeah.
And we appreciate y'all. And next week is the 23rd of Christmas.
It is indeed.
The 23rd of December,
there you go.
Which is apparently Christmas is the whole month of December. So I guess I guess that's what it is. Anyways, we'll catch you on the flip side of the dark side of the moon, you know?
We got to get Kendra out of here. She's been bad. We are clocking out till next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.